What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's quick tutorial, I'll be showing you how to SSH into your Raspberry Pi from any external network or device using a free VPN service called Tailscale. Now the reason I'm making this video is because in a previous video, which I'll link right here and in the description down below, I actually showed you how to do exactly this, which is to control your Raspberry Pi from an external network. However, in that video, we got much more in depth and it was a little more advanced because we were able to do it by playing with some of the settings in our router, and we were able to configure some parameters to enable us to SSH from an external network, which turned out to be complicated for some beginners and actually doesn't generalize well because some people's routers, in fact, many people's routers and providers are much more different. So people following along with that tutorial probably got confused at some point. So instead, we'll be using this free VPN service, which will give us the same outcome. So we'll be able to control our Raspberry Pi remotely. And this method is much more user-friendly and has much less overhead and less configuration for the same outcome. So I do not want to waste any time, guys. Let's jump into the Raspberry Pi side of things and get started. But before we get into the content for today's video, everyone, I just gently want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because it is with your continued support and energy towards the channel that allows me to continue making more engaging content for the IoT community. So if you haven't already, please be sure to smash that subscribe button and let's get into the video. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to show you how incredibly simple this is to do. We just want to sign into our Raspberry Pi and we just want to open a terminal. You can do that on the top left here. Now in the terminal, this is what allows us to install third-party packages really easily through a command line interface on our Raspberry Pi. So if you are a beginner, you're going to be using the terminal a lot when you are programming on your Raspberry Pi. So once we're in this terminal, we just want to first of all do a couple of commands. So if you are in the terminal, you could just type up and down on your keyboard to see the previous commands. Now the first command we want to run today is the upgrade command. So we just want to upgrade the apt installer on our device. So this is just good practice to do before you actually start a new project, is to upgrade and update everything. So we want to upgrade and we want to update. So sudo apt update. Now, if you haven't run this command for a long time, it will take a while to run. So I already ran this right before this video. So as you can see, it's fairly quick. So we updated everything. So everything looks good. Next, we just want to add the repository for Tailscale on our Raspberry Pi. So I have some commands, and once again, I'm just clicking up on my keyboard because I already ran these commands earlier. So this is the first curl command. So curl is just pretty much like hitting an API to get the repository on our device. So we could just curl that. So we're just going to add that, and we have another curl command here. We're not going to get into too much of what these commands are doing. I'll link them in the description down below in my blog, so you could just copy and paste them because they are quite intricate commands, or to type in at least. So we curled the repository on our device in a sense. And now finally what we want to do is we want to install actual Tailscale after we curled. So now we could just go ahead and run the sudo apt install Tailscale. So what we did was we updated, we curled the repository, and then we just want to install Tailscale. So we could go ahead and do that with sudo apt install. So very seamless so far. And then finally, once we install Tailscale, which is fairly quick, we can just go ahead and actually just run Tailscale by running sudo tailscale up. So now we should have Tailscale running on our Raspberry Pi if we do everything correctly. Nice. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to authenticate our device via the Tailscale login. So we're going to have to open this in a browser, which will jump into our local computer because it's just faster for me to do that on a video, to go through this link and authenticate our Raspberry Pi to enable VPN service for it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and open the authentication link on my local computer. So I'm on my Mac now. Really, you could have just opened this link on your Raspberry Pi. So give it a moment to authenticate there. If it's your first time, it will have asked you to sign in. So go ahead and sign in with any way you'd like. I use Gmail. Now you can see here, it looks like it authenticated the device successfully. So we should be good on the Raspberry Pi side of things. Now keep this IP address for later. Next step here, it's telling us to install Tailscale on the App Store. So just go up and actually do that. So let's just go to the App Store and install it real quick. So I actually don't have this yet on my Mac. So we could just go ahead here. And of course they have ones for Linux, Windows, and more. So we go ahead and just search Tailscale. And I am going to get Tailscale, and I'll just give that a moment to install. So we'll jump back to the segment of the video when it is done installing. Okay, it looks like Tailscale is done installing. So let's go ahead and get started here with Tailscale. Allow VPN configuration. We'll just allow that. Okay. Join network. Next, connect this device to your network by signing into Tailscale and authorizing it. So that is fine. go ahead and do that. Once again, I'll just sign in with my Gmail account that I used at the beginning here. So go ahead and connect. Awesome. So it looks like we are connected. So automatically start Tailscale when you log into your computer. Yes, start on login, that is fine. Okay, connect your devices. Now that you're connected, you can find your network devices in the menu bar and connect to them using their IP addresses. Start using Tailscale, visit the admin console. So let's open the admin console here. As we can see, so we actually have these devices. Let's go ahead and actually try to SSH into this device. So we go ahead and select it here. So we see some parameters. We're not going to get into too much detail about this. Let's go ahead and just copy this Tailscale VPN or this IP address. Now let's go ahead and open the terminal on our Mac. We should be able to now SSH. So let's just do SSH, the name of my username on the Raspberry Pi. And let me just sign in for you guys a little bit at the IP address. Let's go ahead and click enter. And now it's going to ask us if we want to connect. So we'll just go ahead and type in yes. And it looks like we want the password now. So I'll just type in my password for my Raspberry Pi. And now I am SSH into my Raspberry Pi. Now the next thing I want to do is I was actually on the same network as my Raspberry Pi. So let's go ahead and disconnect and make sure this works from an external network, because the whole premise of this video was to show you how to control your Raspberry Pi from external networks, which is a little harder than controlling it from your local network. So let's go ahead and switch to my hotspot and show you that I'm not joking. It's that easy to set this up. So now I'm on a hotspot, I'm on an external network. We can go ahead and run the same command for our Raspberry Pi and just sign in, and we can run commands on our Raspberry Pi remotely. And we saw how incredibly simple it was to set that up using Tailscale. So that sums it up for today's video, everyone. Now we can remotely control our Raspberry Pi with any device that has Tailscale on it. Best of all, it's free, easily configurable, and really beginner friendly, and also has many other configurations you could do for more advanced things and production level applications. So now we can control it, as you can see here, and I hope you guys can as well. Now, if you had any issues following along with this tutorial, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what you want to see in future tutorials in the comment section down below. Stay tuned, guys. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button or that like button, and I will see you in the next tutorial.